channel. Today we're going to be reading part 2 of Keeper of the Lost Cities, Nightfall. So we'll get started soon. First, I just wanted to give a shout out to Kim Mindell and Zachary Briggs. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Okay, let's get started now. So we last left off, Sophie was talking to her sister about the Neverseen and how they wouldn't kill their parents, but not yet, she's thinking. So, the Neverseen had been trying to control Sophie since they'd first learned she existed, so she was sure they'd used her parents as the worst sort of blackmail. There had to be more to it, otherwise they wouldn't have let her know the second they had their prisoners. At least the Neverseen didn't know her sister heard them say they were going to Nightfall. All they had to do was find that door, and Sophie was pretty sure she knew how to do that. She just wished it didn't involve trusting one of their enemies. I know what you're thinking, Keith told her, and I'm in, all the way. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Fitz said, pointing towards the windows, where the sky was fading to twilight. First, we need to get out of here. They probably have someone watching this place, waiting for us to show up. Sophie nodded to her sister. Go pack a bag as quick as you can. You're coming with us. That's way too dangerous, Fitz warned. If the council found out, they won't, Sophie interrupted. As soon as we get back, I'll hail the collective. Black Swan, the rebel organization that created Sophie, had an extensive network of secret hideouts. They'd always come through when Sophie needed their help. Then again, that was before Mr. Forkel was. This time, she couldn't stop her brain from finishing the sentence with murdered. She pressed her palm over her chest, feeling for the new locket under her tunic, which held the last task Mr. Forkel had entrusted her before he took his final breaths. When an elf passed away, they coiled their DNA around a wanderling seed and planted it in a special forest. But Mr. Forkel had asked Sophie to hold onto his seed, claiming she'd somehow know when and where to do the planting. He'd also asked that his body be removed from the rubble before anyone saw it, which meant only a handful of people knew that he'd been killed. But the rest of their world would find out soon enough. The council had extended Foxfire's midterm break in the light of the tragedy in Luminaria. But school was scheduled to restart in less than 2 weeks, and one of Mr. Forkel's secret alter egos had been the president of the academy. Keith moved closer, leading into a whisper. I'll take care of your sister, Foster. This place I'm crashing in is small, and it smells like Sasquatch breath mixed with rotting toenails, but I guarantee no one will find us. Keith had been living on the run ever since he fled the Neverseen, and his offer wasn't a horrible suggestion. But Sophie wasn't letting her sister out of her sight. She's coming with me to Havenfield. We'll figure out the rest once we get there. I'm not going anywhere with a bunch of strangers, her sister informed them. The last word stung more than Sophie wanted to admit, but she did her best to shrug it off. Do you really think you're safe here? Even if the Neverseen don't come back, the police might. Do you want to end up in foster care? Her sister bit her lip, leaving indentations in the soft flesh. What about Marty and Watson? Who's going to feed him? Sophie's eyes prickled. You still have Marty? The fluffy gray cat used to sleep on her pillow every night, and it had broken her heart to leave him behind. But she'd figured her family would need him, and Watson must have been the dog she'd heard barking when they first arrived. Sophie had asked the elves to move her family somewhere with a yard big enough to allow them to finally get the puppy her sister had always wanted. I guess we'll bring him with us, Sophie decided. Get Watson on a leash and put Marty in his carrier. Okay, seriously, we can't do this, Fitz said, reaching under Sophie's hand to force her to listen to him. You don't understand how dangerous this is. It'll be fine, Sophie insisted. The Black Swan will keep her hidden. The Black Swan, her sister whispered. Wait, I think they said something about that. Everything was happening so fast that it's hard to remember. But I think one of them said, let's figure out why the Black Swan chose them. Sophie shared another look with their friends. I'll take it to you guys to know what that means. I take it you guys know what that means, sorry. Her sister asked. It might be about me, Sophie said. It's part of the long story I have to tell you, but we should get out of here first. She tried to reach for her home crystals, but Fitz wouldn't let go of her hands. You're not understanding what I'm saying, he told her. Do you have any idea how risky it is to leap with a human? He kept his voice low, but her sister still snapped. What do you mean, a human? Exactly what you think he means, a slightly deeper, even crisper voice said from the doorway. Everyone whipped around to find the three others who'd insisted on joining Sophie, Keith, and Fitz on this hastily planned and highly illegal excursion of the Forbidden Cities. Fitz's father, Alden, who looked like an older, more regal version of his son, and Sander and Grizzle, who instantly triggered a massive amount of screaming. It's okay, Sophie promised. It's okay, there are bodyguards. That only seemed to make her sister scream louder. To be fair, both Sandor and Grizzle were 7 feet tall and gray, with flat noses and massive amount of rock-hard muscle, plus gigantic black swords strapped to their sides. What are they? Her sister stammered. Goblins, Sander said in his unexpectedly high-pitched, squeaky voice. Ellie mean you no harm, Grizzle added in her huskier tone. A hysterical laugh burbled from her sister's lips. Goblins? Like from the bank in Harry Potter? Fitz grinned. She sounds like Sophie did when I first told her she was an elf. The words triggered another round of hysterical laughter. Okay, so 2 things, Keith jumped in. 1. How is she understanding this? I just realized we've all been speaking in the enlightened language, and she has too. I gave her and her parents a basic understanding of our language before we relocated them, Alden explained. In case something like this ever happened, communication can be a powerful weapon and an essential defense. What is he talking about? Her sister shouted. What did you do to my brain? The second thing, Keith said, fanning his arm the way he did when he was reading emotions through the air. I'm betting your sister is about 3 minutes away from a meltdown of epic proportions. I'd wager it would be sooner than that, Eldon said through a sigh. This is exactly the kind of worst-case scenario I'd hope we never come to face. Fortunately, I came prepared. What are you doing? Sophie asked, yanking her hands free from Fitz as Alden reached into the inner pocket of his long blue cape. He'd been afraid he'd pull out a vial of sedatives, but the round silver disc he tossed at her feet was much more terrifying. Sophie had used the same gadget the day he drugged her family so the elves could erase her. As the world spun to a blur, she realized she should have held her breath the second the disc held the floor. Please, she begged when her sister collapsed. She's going to need me. You can't erase me from her life again. Keith lunged to help Sophie, but only lasted a second before he went down. Fitz followed a second after that. Sophie's knees gave out, but she crawled for her sister, pleading with Alden to change his plan. He'd always been so kind to her, a loyal, trustworthy advisor, almost a father figure, but his face was sad and serious as he released the breath he'd been holding. Don't fight the sedatives, Sophie. You can't beat them. He said something else, but she couldn't understand him. Her ears were ringing, and the light kept dimming. She hated this feeling, hated Alden for putting her through it, but she couldn't focus enough to rally any of her defenses. Please, she said again, as her face sank against the carpet. Please don't take my sister away from me. Not again. Through her hazy eyes, she saw Alden crouch beside her, his lips mouthing, I'm sorry. Then darkness swallowed everything. Thank you guys so much for listening. Subscribe and comment how you liked the story so far. Chapter 2 next week. Okay, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.